I'm Pauline Lewis and I'm Churchwarden at Liverpool Parish Church. I'm pleased to be able to share some thoughts with you during our 50 days of Easter reflections. When I was at school, I remember studying a selection of Wordsworth's poems, and recently I heard them being read on the radio. Lines composed above Tintern Abbey is his poem of quiet contemplation and self-examination. He talks about that best portion of a good man's life, his little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. As a student, I wondered how these acts of kindness could remain unremembered. But of course, it is because they were unremarkable, everyday kindnesses of the sort we barely notice. Today, we might use the phrase random acts of kindness. We've seen and heard of many such acts in recent times, some unremarkable, others remarkable, but it seems all memorable. Because I suppose we've been living through memorable times. When I talk to friends on the phone, it makes my heart glad to hear what they are doing to help others, be it volunteering for NHS prescription deliveries or doing a neighbour's shopping, knitting hearts for patients in maternity hospital, making bags for nurses to put their uniforms into at the end of a shift, or collecting toiletries for local women's refuge. Volunteers at the local food banks have continued to help our most vulnerable, and the anonymous donations to fill the box outside our church daily. We know there's so much more. You can find resources on the internet to help you stay calm and kind during the pandemic, or kindness ideas for students, or ideas to inspire acts of kindness. And I found myself wondering when we needed to be taught to be kind. It seems to me human beings have an instinct for kindness. It's a natural human response. Sadly, in some it is hidden, and sometimes a person can be so damaged through no fault of their own that their instinct for kindness lies dormant. Research has shown that helping others is beneficial to people's mental health and well-being. It reduces stress, improves emotions. But what stands out for me in our current circumstances is that it brings a sense of belonging and reduces isolation. And this is why gathering together again, be it for sport, singing in a choir or church, is so important. So we can renew our bonds of friendship and community, experience again the look in someone's eyes that says to the lonely, I care about you, or the touch full of empathy which says to the bereaved, I'm sorry for your loss. Or to a frustrated mum, you are a great parent. We can share in each other's joys and sorrows and offer those nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. In church, our morning prayers in themselves are acts of kindness which we can all share together in the same place, in the same moment. I've been able to join community choir rehearsals on Zoom and view the Sunday Eucharist on YouTube. Virtual church may well be proving to be a good stopgap during lockdown and may grab lots of views and likes, sometimes many more than attend our churches on a Sunday. Perhaps there are those who think, let's do this instead of church. Big savings can be made on heating and lighting. But technology, in all its wonder, can't replace or replicate the collective, in-the-moment presence of a shared experience. Alan Bennett, in Untold Stories, a book of his memoirs, recalls a time when he was in hospital for life-saving surgery. He says, I was probably crying out because a nurse who was passing stopped and held my hand. Perhaps no more than a gesture of fellow feeling. It seemed to me at the time like the kindest thing anyone had ever done for me. He was an angel, and I loved him. He goes on to talk about the nurses who had looked after him when he could not look after himself, of their selflessness and vocation and good jokes. A simple, human, kind touch on the part of the nurse, but a monumental moment for the one who received it. Our nurses, care workers and doctors have been brought into sharp focus during the pandemic. They are saving lives every day, but they're also being kind to people in their darkest hours. Sadly, numbers of them have died as a result of doing their job, following their vocation, and I hope they're never forgotten. In the coming weeks and months, I'm sure we will hear of many experiences like this. For a Christian, the kindest act of all was performed by Christ, giving himself to be crucified so he could redeem all the sins of all people. Whether you are a person of faith or not, I hope we can all draw something good from this. There is no greater love than to give up your life for others.